Hi, we're starting something new, which is always exciting. We're going to be beginning Sefer Yecheskel. So before I say anything further, I want to make notice that the shir is Le'ili Nishmas, Rachalea Bas Rachem Tzvi, as always, and it should in fact serve as a further aliyah for Hanashama. So Sefer Yecheskel is a very unique one of the Sifrei Nevuah. What makes it unique is the Sefer itself is full of mishalim, full of parables. Let's define parable. A parable is where you look at something using the words that are part of your human vocabulary to suggest something obscure or metaphysical that's hard to put into human vocabulary. So an example of what a parable would be the story of Rabbi Akiva and the fish, where he's at the seashore. He sees fish all excited, running about in the water, and he watches as the fox comes to the fish and say, "Fish, why are you running?" And the fish answer, "We're running away from the big fish." So the fox says to the fish, "Come on dry land, I'll protect you. You'll be safe from the big fish." To which they reply, "Fox, you're supposed to be the most clever of animals, but you're not. If we aren't safe in our own environment, how will we survive on dry land?" Okay, so this parable is meant to suggest that if the Jews can't live in a Torah environment, if we're not surviving under the Roman persecutions of his time, how will we survive if we assimilate? Shall we trust the fox, the Romans, to protect us? So the obvious reality is that Rabbi Akiva didn't see fish talk. He used this as an allegory to something much bigger, much less concrete. In this case, the idea of the uniqueness of the destiny of Klal Yisrael. So Sefer Yecheskel is replete with mashalim, and in fact, he himself, in many ways, is a mashal. He says this about himself in Perek Chet. He says, "And I am to you a mashal." Okay, so what's this about? Why is he giving us these very difficult prophecies at this time, and what was happening? So what was happening was that the Jews are being exiled. It's imminent. It's happening. He himself already was in exile. As you know, the exile took place in stages, with the important people being forced into leaving Eretz Yisrael first. So the real question that he was addressing is, what's our relationship to Hashem when we're in exile? Who are we in exile? What brought about the exile? Could anything be done? What will bring about redemption? How will things be at the time of redemption? These are the themes that flow through this Sefer. These themes are enormously relevant to us in our contemporary life. We don't know what it means not to be in exile. We haven't ever met anyone who isn't in exile. We haven't even read a book written in our own language, in English, written by someone who knew someone who wasn't in exile. So, exile isn't just expulsion from Eretz Yisrael. Even those of us who live in Eretz Yisrael are in exile. What does exile mean? So, in order to answer what exile means, let's quote Rambam, who tells us what exile isn't. He tells us that the difference between our contemporary state and what will happen when Mashiach comes is shibud malchiot bilvad, only submission to the nations. He says this quoting the Talmud. The idea being that our submission to the nations isn't just cultural, and isn't just linguistic, and isn't just societal, and isn't just political. It's total. We're defined through their lens. This is how we see reality. There's no exile deeper than exile hada'at, which is the exile of our inner ability to see things as they are, to be connected, to be discerning. So this is a book of prophecy addressed to us. Many of the ideas, especially in the first perek, are difficult ideas. The first perek, which is the perek that will begin today, is referred to by the sages as Maaseh Merkava, as the deed of the chariot, or the story of the chariot. The word Merkava, chariot, Okay, it's the same root as the word murkav, which means complex. What's the connection between these two concepts? Why is Masa Merkava viewed as so difficult, so concealed? The narrative of Masa Merkava is going to talk to us about Hashem's relationship to us. Most Nevuah talks about our relationship to Him, what has to change, what has to be improved, how He'll respond to what we're doing. This takes us a step above that. So, Masa Merkava, like Masa Bereshit, takes us beyond what we could see, beyond what we could know. The true secrets of Masa Merkava are known only to the greatest of the great, are only revealed one person, one scholar to another. But nonetheless, it was written down.